Next, the chief prosecutor in Aruba finally returns a call to John Q. Kelly, the Holloway family's lawyer. But it wasn't exactly a friendly call. The prosecutor left a nasty voicemail. You're going to find out what was on that voicemail. John Q. Kelly is here. John Q. Kelly, you have a voicemail. The lawyer for Natalee Holloway's family has been trying to reach Aruba's chief prosecutor, Hans Moss. Well, Moss finally returned Mr. Kelly's call and apparently left John Kelly a rather nasty voicemail. John Q. Kelly is with us. John, let's get some timing. First of all, when did you send that letter asking to have the arrests? When was that sent?
8 days ago. It would have been last Wednesday.
All right. Get a response?
No response to the letter. First phone call back was today on my cell phone.
All right. When did you last make a phone call to Hans Moss?
Yesterday morning.
Yesterday morning? And
yeah.
I take you said call me back, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your voicemail that met you today? What did you get?
I wouldn't call it nasty. I would say it was curt. He was clearly angry, and it was just basically two things. One, he said it was unfortunate what I said about him on your show the other night, which, whatever it was, I stand by it 100%. And the second thing was basically, don't hold your breath on the letter you wrote me. But Greta, this is petty stuff. Let me tell you, there's incredible news out of Aruba in the Netherlands today, and I don't know if you're aware of it. The Minister of Justice, Rudy Cruz, has now come out and publicly said that the police chief at the time in Aruba, when Natalee disappeared, Jan van der Straten, was clearly complicit with Paulus van der Sloot in covering up for Huron in the initial days after Natalee's disappearance. He's calling for a whole new investigation, and he's basically, by stating that, corroborating what Huron told you in talking to you.
All right, well, I'm delighted that the Minister of Justice is finally doing that, but any clue why he waited 3.5 years when the trail is really cold?
Well, it's remarkable. None of this is about Natalee and a missing young woman and, you know, parents without their child. It's a bunch of ego stuff right now. It's van der Straten apparently criticized the police investigators, his own investigators this week. Rudy Cruz, in turn, then came out and said, what's van der Straten talking about? He's the one that covered up with Paulus van der Sloot. We have a whole trail of phone calls between van der Straten and van der Sloot in terms of what happened in the days after Natalee's disappearance. Van der Straten, he went on to say, used his second-rate investigation team to check into Natalee's disappearance initially and just, you know, covered the whole thing up, deliberately hindered the prosecution and investigation into Natalee's disappearance between Paulus van der Sloot and the chief of police.
You and I are having a nice sort of calm voice conversation, but the headline is the Minister of Justice in Aruba now admits there's a cover-up.
Between the chief of police and Paulus van der Sloot. Yes, for starters.
And Hans Moss, his reaction to this is to leave you a voicemail saying he didn't like what you said on TV the other night and basically don't hold your breath waiting for an answer.
Right. And now we have more new evidence. We have clear evidence of the cover-up between the chief of police and Paulus van der Sloot, in addition to the damning admissions made by Huron van der Sloot of criminal conduct, the kidnapping and trafficking, and the implication of others. You know what, Greta, just going back to your conversation with Huron on tape, everybody's saying, well, why don't you get an exemplar of Paulus's voice and things like that? You know what? Hey, Paulus, why don't you stick your head out the front door and say, that's not my voice, and I didn't have that conversation with my son, and end all this. Calpos have been dead silent. Huron certainly hasn't come to bat for his father or anybody else in this thing. I know he's tuned into all this. And, you know, it's just unbelievable. You've got a 21-year-old woman who might be out there terrified, helpless, being told nobody cares, nobody's looking for you, and you have all these people over in Aruba pointing the finger at each other now and forgetting what it's all about.
And it's like, Holland, where are you? What's Holland doing? This is part of their kingdom. They're doing nothing. The prosecutor is now worried about you saying something about him not returning phone calls. And you got the Minister of Justice admitting that there is a cover-up. Paulus van der Sloot won't give an exemplar and stick his head out the door. So basically, I don't know, shoot me, John. It's just like, I cannot believe the
oh, it's unbelievable.
Unbelievable cruelty on the part of all these people. Shame on them.
And then to end it off, Rudy Cruz complained about the Netherlands not backing up Aruba. you know, with international moral support after he admits that his home police department was in a complicit cover-up.
All right,
Listen,
well,
Greta, last thing, this is a stain on Aruba. A horrible stain.
It's worse than that.
It's getting bigger, it's getting darker. They're the only ones that can clean it up, and they better do something soon because it's only getting worse.
John, thank you.
Sure, Greta.
Up next, as you heard, the Justice Minister of Aruba is admitting something disturbing, incredibly disturbing. He says there's a cover-up. Finally, this could blow the lid off this investigation if they'd ever get off their whatever and want to investigate. A live report from Aruba is next. And then, new